Hello, everybody. So, John Lamont, congratulations again on Spirit of the Dragon 2. That closed out, and my campaign's closing in on 10 grand.
Nice.
Number 2. I'm you know.
It's not too unsurprising for Palace.
Yeah.
Seems to have a pretty good following.
It does. And so, John, you brought us a couple of friends, right? We have Ibrahim and Chris, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And I noticed Chris, I think, posted the. So, all right, let me go ahead and just put this up on screen. You tell me what I'm looking at. All right. So, the descent into the forest. So, what is this?
Chris, you want to explain it?
Yeah, so I don't know how to answer that. It's a manga that has to do with two travelers in India trying to find something, basically, and they find something along the way that they weren't really supposed to.
Awesome. So it's a horror, I guess.
Yes.
Okay.
I have another one called the Buffet, but this one's actually like the way better one between what we have between the two of them.
So two hikers, ghost story kind of thing.
Yes.
All right, awesome. And so, Chris, you're the writer or the artist?
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool. And then, Ibrahim, did you have a role in this project?
No, I just excuse me. I just kind of like took note of the work, and he kind of like showed me it, and I was like, okay, this is pretty good.
Okay. Well, you seem to have gotten pretty far along with it. Now, you're working with an artist, clearly, right? This isn't you that did the drawings.
Yes.
Oh, you did.
No, I did not do the drawings. My friend did. Yeah.
Got it. Who did?
My friend in Indonesia.
Okay, cool. All right. I mean, might want to put.
I should probably plug his thing. His name is Risky. He's very talented artist. He's social media is at Step One Studio. Yeah, he has another comic. So if anybody's interested.
And I'd even say, I don't know what the. I'm not even sure. I followed the link that you typed into my Discord, so I'm not sure if there's a different section of your website where the artist's information and credits would be, but I would recommend that you certainly make that prevalent. So you go, oh hey, it's this artist who did the thing.
Yeah. Let me see. We actually don't really have that information on top as yet, but I guess I've added.
All right. Well,
but thank you for letting me know about that.
To add it.
Sure. Thank you very much.
All right. So how many pages of tapas do we have? Looks like plenty. Is this where it opens?
Yes, that's the beginning. Where like the tree trunk is, that's the beginning.
Okay.
So, Chris, is this the one that we were discussing yesterday? You're thinking about the converting and running a Kickstarter for and trying to get it printed?
Yes, but this is a one-shot. The story's completely done.
Okay.
Right, because you said your long-form project isn't ready for mainstream yet. So, and I think that's where we kind of got into this project, and you were interested in getting information on basically how to market and produce this into what is it, 32 pages, I think you said, something around there?
Yeah, something like that. I think it's 35, but yeah, or in the 30s.
So yeah, so we're talking short short graphic novel type one shot. And that's kind of what your plan is with this project. And that's when I recommended that you swing by the group and talk with Preston about next steps on moving forward with that. Your other project, when it's ready for mainstream, and I highly recommend, like I did with Abraham, to come to the streams as often as you can, because it's a good way to learn. You'll learn how there are various ways to format a comic for a script artist. Clearly, you've worked with a script artist, and if you're going to continue working with this artist, you guys will figure out your own groove that'll help you with your production. But at least for our purposes, when you're still honing a script, as you'll see if you stay, we have a few scripts tonight. It's just how we do it. There's no hard and fast rule on how to format a script. It's kind of whatever works best for you, works best for the people that are reading it, and works best for your art team. But yeah, so I will.
Right. Thank you.
I'll let you and Preston talk a little bit about, like the promotion and converting and how you would go from a 36-ish page graphic novel to a successful Kickstarter.
And that was John, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much, John. I appreciate it.
I'm sure Preston probably didn't catch up on everything that we were talking about yesterday. So that was kind of the TDLR.
Okay. All right. So I guess we're going to read these pages. Although, well, yeah, right. I mean, obviously, like the art's already done, so that, there's not a whole lot to change at this point.
Chris was interested in getting where he would go from here to promote and convert this to a Kickstarter, to print it and get it published.
Yeah, because I actually did not have that idea for this comic. For all intents and purposes, I thought this comic was like completely done. This was just going to show people what we've made before, so that people could donate. This, along with chapter 1 of the new story. But from what I understand, the new story, the Kickstarter, is going to be quite ambitious, especially for like a first-time author. I was thinking about just kickstarting this to get the prints out, and then get my name out there, so then more people can. Because the big story is going to be like, it's going to be like our Naruto or our Berserk, right? That's going to be like our thing that defines us. This is just like
Let's say you put this on Kickstarter. Well, first off, is the book done?
This is 100% done. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe minor grammatical issues.
And how
bar that, nothing else. Okay. About 35 pages.
35 pages. Okay, great. So if you
it's in the 30s.
Okay. So if you go on Kickstarter and you create a project and you say, boom, here it is, first time in print, and you get 50 people giving you if 50 people give you $50, whatever, what is that? It's $2,500. Yeah. So let's say you do that, or or 50 people give you $30 each, and that gives you $1,500. And would you be happy with that?
Yes, I mean, the thing is, I would have to crunch the numbers to see how much it would take to get everything printed, all the variant art, all the variant covers and stuff like that. I spent about, let's say, $1,000 on this project, and I never ever expected it this is kind of just like a passion project. I never expected it to actually make money, but if it could potentially make money, I would not I would not be against that, obviously. I just never really thought of making this the whole, you know what I mean? I never thought of actually putting this on Kickstarter, because I thought we were just going to put the big story on it.
Okay.
So what's wrong with this project that makes you not want to put it on Kickstarter?
By the way, your mic is really low over there.
What's wrong with your project that makes you not want to put it on Kickstarter? Preston, you might as well entertain the people who are watching the video and scroll down if we're not going to read this aloud.
Okay, sure. Yeah, good point.
No, there was no.
I'm sure we all want to buy that.
I never had the idea.
I mean,
no, I just never had that idea.
The artwork's pretty good, by the way.
The artwork's pretty good. The pacing of the captions are pretty good. It looks like there's some action happening. There's a mysterious temple. So, you know, it's a pretty standard web manga thing with above average art. I think this will do pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. So, Chris, I wasn't clear when I said if you put this on Kickstarter and, you know, 50 people give you $30 or $1,500, will you be happy with that?
Yes, especially if we can use the
Okay.
money to pay all of the variant covers and
Okay.
send these out to people. Yeah, we would be very happy.
Well,
Especially, what we really care about is getting our name out in order to share this share like the next comic that we're working on.
Okay.
That's really like this was just kind of like a springboard step.
All right. Well, if you want to be like a get your name out there type of person, are we done with looking at the manga? It looks cool, by the way. All right, cool. I'm gonna
Oh, that's some nice perspective work. Yeah.
and Danny, yeah, your mic apparently low.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm definitely like just chilling out,
Okay.
not sitting super close to the computer.
All right, but yeah, it looks like a good book. I think it should do well. In terms of getting your name out there, that's how best to promote. There are all kind of books and videos on that. Myself, I like to go to shows and sell my wares, but of course, to get to that level, you first have to have a product to sell. You don't want to go out and pay table fee just to hand out cards and say back my next Kickstarter. That sucks. I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah, that's one I don't know about.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's just that Risky and I. So Risky
But
has.
at the same time,
been in-
if you were
Yeah.
if you were pleased with the idea that okay, you might get, because $1,500 is a fairly modest goal. I think that book could probably bring in more than that. But I'm just saying, if you would be happy with that, and that's a modest goal that's easily achievable, then just do the easily achievable modest goal, and maybe even more will come in, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I'm just kind of new to this, so I didn't
Okay.
really expect that. Like, okay, like when I thought that I was gonna start with the big story, I thought I would have to like really meticulously plan everything and then like really promote it in order to get its goal. But that's why I never thought of like crowdfunding
It
this
depends
story.
on the goal. If you have like a $20,000 goal, then yeah, that's an ambitious marketing plan that's going to require, work and dedication and contacts and all these things. But if you have,
and that's about the range we're looking for the big story, because that's going to be 500
Okay.
pages and
well
everything.
then, all right, well now again we're back to, particularly because you're new to this, set easier to accomplish goals and start achieving them, and then let the wake of your successes build you ever further. Right?
Yeah, so that's probably a good idea to start with this one, and just putting it up on Kickstarter to put it in print and everything.
There you go. I mean, it might take you a while before you're earning John Lamont money, but
It took me 4 Kickstarters to get where I'm at.
Yeah.
In 4 Kickstarters over 14 months.
And he's still not to 20K yet.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. 20K is an ambitious goal.
Right, we were thinking about splitting it up into like 4 Kickstarters or maybe 2, so 4 5,000 or 2. Okay.
There you go.
I mean, honestly, that was kind of like back when I got into this. That was one of the things that Preston and I had talked about too. Was rather than trying to do a 100-page graphic novel, you break it into 5 bite-sized chunks. And if I'm a brand new artist and I've spent say $50,000 to produce the artwork for my graphic novel, and I'm a brand new Kickstarter dropping, okay, if I want $50,000 Kickstarter, nobody's going to give me $50,000 to produce a graphic novel. But I got about 100 people to give me $4,000 for issue 1. I got a couple more than 100 to give me $8,000 for my second Kickstarter. I got a couple more people to I think I got about 200 on my third Kickstarter, and my last Kickstarter I'm up to like 260, and I'm hoping that my next one will hit 300. So, like, yeah, it's going to take time, consistency. If you're only putting out one a year, like if I was doing one a year, I might have the same success I am on number 4. But rather than being here in 14 months, I would have been here in 4 years. So I'm just like, I'm just pinching pennies everywhere I possibly can so that I can pump out books by 2 different art teams every few months. My next Kickstarter should be launching in January.
You can do it.
It's the book's like over halfway done.
Yeah,
So-
for us, we definitely will have to it's definitely going to be probably a few years kind of thing, just because of
I did a gun
scale it.
show over the weekend, and I thought it was a decent experience. It was profitable because tables don't cost much at a gun show. So I booked another one this weekend. It was
With respect to kickstarting the long project, like I'm going to be live soon with a third of my graphic novel. It is a good idea to go into it with a strategy for how you're going to break it up and bring it to market, right? Like, I had a pandemic get in the way, which made it rather difficult to figure out what to do with mine as it was being produced chapter by chapter. But I'm really happy with where I'm at, selling a larger discrete story unit. I'm really excited to see how my campaign goes. Maybe I'll even get John Lamont money.
There you go. Right?
Ideally in US dollars.
Yeah, we know that Canadian money doesn't really count for anything.
I mean, it counts for a lot when I'm trying to eat, but that's not the point.
It does.
So, you've got a lot going on, but one of the things, if you're doing a large, ambitious project, shouldn't be figuring out how Kickstarter works. So it's a very good idea before you do a big thing to do a smaller thing.
That sounds like a very good point.
Like, you don't know how much money
Yeah.
you're going to spend on shipping and packing materials and shuttling crap around, and all of that stuff that's all costs that need to be accounted for. And even on my own projects, like, there's been times where someone screwed up the math and we very nearly started selling things at a loss from the beginning for certain products. So
We've all done that. So that's
I've never done that because I'm good at math, but I've also had reviewed stuff.
Sometimes you do typos. I overpromised on one of my campaigns by a lot. I mean, these are rookie mistakes, and you want to get them out of the way on
Go
your
make mistakes aggressively now while it's cheap, and don't make mistakes on the 500-page book.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. So we will definitely. I guess I could make a draft Kickstarter and then show it to people in the Discord if that's possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. Yeah.
And
because I just have to figure out. I have to figure out other things. I know Ibrahim. Is he still on the? Is he still on the live stream?
Yeah, I'm here. How's it going?
Ibrahim, you mentioned to me different things that I could do as what do we call it, as tiered goals and stuff like that.
Well, yeah,
which I had never even thought of. John has metal trading cards, and I'm sure everyone in this group they all have different add-ons and stretch goals for their Kickstarters. Preston could probably also tell you a little bit more too. I mean, it's just kind of like a thing that you have to do to get your people to pledge more money.
I mean, sure.
Right. I never would have thought of the thing.
Most of these things are usually vehicles to showcase, hot variant covers that you threw some money at. So if you what I'm saying is your cover budget is actually an important element of your discussion about your Kickstarter package.
That's why I was recommending that you get at least 2 variant covers.
Right.
Um,
Because if
Mhm.
you don't pay the artist to produce cool art, then people aren't going to want to buy the prints of the metal trading cards.
right.
I
So
see.
you can't approach it with the idea of, okay, here's my project, and now we'll do some metal trading cards, we'll do some this. Like, unless you producing enough artistic payload, you're not necessarily going to have the demand.
Okay, I understand.
You
Yeah,
have to
Okay,
think
I'll
of
look
it,
into it.
yeah, as that you're kind of entering the art business.
Okay.
people do judge a book
and-
by its cover. So
Absolutely, yeah. And it wasn't until I did this that I really understood that, or for that matter, the even more horrific thing that people just want the cover, not the book. Like,
right,
people are perfectly
It's the
fine buying the print about the character and not the character. You know, they're like, I've got my own story for this character. That's all. You know, so
So over here in Riverview, I actually tried to get my comic book in some comic book stores,
yeah,
and some of the owners, they never accepted it, but some of the owners told me, yeah, most people just buy based on like, oh, this is a cool cover.
yes, yes, yes.
Oh, I would say all of them, since I started buying mainstream comics, I will say, which is a fairly recent thing that I've been purchasing. I only buy.
What do you think? What do you think of mainstream comics?
Um,
Me?
I really
No.
like Art Germ's art, so
Okay.
I have been exclusively buying his covers, and that's
Me?
all I buy. I don't buy for the story. I buy for the cover, literally.
Okay, John.
I
So
look
you're,
at
you're literally buying a book for the cover.
yes, and that's the only reason why I buy mainstream comics,
Okay.
because at least those I expect will have a higher return on investment.
Okay.
Because I go into my local comic shop, I buy a couple, and
Actually,
then I got
higher
gotta
than
hunt.
what?
Say again.
Higher than what? You
Higher
said a
than
higher return on investment. You mean higher than like?
I think a DC comic variant cover signed by the artist and graded is going to fetch more than an indie comic signed by the artist,
There you go.
unless that artist completely turns around.
Yeah.
Like as I said, like I'll go into my local comic book store and I bought. Oh, here's a good example. So I bought the Art Germ Virgin cover of Fantastic Four, where he did one of each of the Fantastic Four characters. So I
Okay.
have the whole set because they had the
Yeah.
whole set. So I bought the whole
Right.
set.
Right. And
One
John
of
is.
my
I
on
want to
one
say
of my
that John
convention.
is a typical collector here. He bought 4 copies of the same book and he didn't read it.
Yep.
There you
Though,
go.
according to the guy, I didn't even open them to check.
Yeah.
According to the guy, apparently this is a reprint of issues 1, 2, 3, and 4 of their reboot of Fantastic Four from like 2018 or something like that. But whatever, I don't care. The point was, I like the cover. I like the artist. I'm going to hunt him down when I do one of these cons. I'm going to get him to sign them, and then I'm going to get them graded. And then when Disney produces their Fantastic Four movie, I'm going to flip these for like $1,000 or $2,000.
Okay.
What is
That's
that
my
graded,
plan.
if I may ask? What does graded mean?
Graded is when you submit a comic to one of 2 comic book companies where basically they hermetically seal them. They grade them based on their quality of printing, and they put them in a hermetically sealed case so that they maintain that quality, and you get a grade from basically 1 to 10.
This is grading right here.
There you go.
You see
Yeah.
how they
That's interesting.
yeah, and
So-
it's in this very hard plastic thing. And right here on the back, there's a
1980.
QR code that you can scan with your phone, and it'll pull up the grader's notes. And it has the grade right there, 9.8, so you know that this comic is super cool. And all that good stuff.
Yeah, 9.8 is usually the highest, Chris, that they.
Well, I
grade.
mean, I've seen 10s.
Well, yeah, there's those rare 10s. I mean,
Yeah.
But so as I said, I spent $20 for each of those books. So I spent $80 on the books, and the books are already limited edition when they came out. They were a very limited edition run, and so I spent $80 on the books. I'll probably spend 25-ish each to sign, and then grading
Now,
will probably be about.
You're going to have to get that witness for a grading company to accept that that's an authentic signature.
I know. That's why I'm going to do it at a con. I got to find a con where he's at that I'm also going to be at, and that's the plan. Is I'm going to go to a con. I'm going to go to the grading table. I'm going to tell them, dude, I need you to come over, and I'll pay them whatever it costs to have them witness it, so that. Yeah. No, that's the plan. As I said, I'm hoping that. And I think that set, I think will probably fetch a pretty good penny, especially when the Fantastic Four movie comes out.
There you go.
Right. Yeah, the demand will go up.
I absolutely. Yep. As soon as that demand goes up, the algorithms are going to be fetching for anything. And then I'm going to drop graded, signed by the artist, verified signatures, limited edition variant covers of really, really cool stuff. So I think it'll fetch a fair penny. But that's what I do. That's kind of and I think that'll sell more than, say, even one of my Garvey books. I mean, Garvey sells well.
Yeah.
And I've posted frequently.
But there's no trademark behind it.
Right. Exactly. That's the whole point. See, like Fantastic Four is a name, and it'll show up in algorithms. And when people search eBay for Fantastic Four, it's going to get a lot more hits and a lot more eyeballs and a much greater chance. That's where it's like, and I like the guy's art. So worst case scenario, like I heard a long, long time ago, when it comes to art investment, the adage is don't buy art because you think it's going to appreciate in value. Buy art because you like it. And if it appreciates in value, all the more. And that's kind of my taking. Like I like it. I think it will appreciate, but I'm buying stuff because I like it. And worst case scenario, it'll go on a wall. And maybe one of these days when I have a better streaming setup, I'll have a wall of graded comics behind me instead of.
There you go.
Well, I have a question.
A messy apartment.
Yeah, go ahead.
When it comes to like campaign goals, how many should I say I should expect to fulfill for example, I think you said if people donate $50 for 100, well that's like what, $5,000. So how many should I expect to
The minimum is 500 for your first campaign. Run it for 500.
What?
Did you hear that, Chris?
Hello. I heard the minimum is 500 for a campaign, but I'm saying when I'm fulfilling goals, what should be my number in the head? Should I fulfill goals for 100 people, 200 people, 1,000?
Let's say, look, you
mean
don't have to worry
goals?
about your production counts until your campaign is over.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think in the back of my head. Does the scale with more people, does it get cheaper as you get with more people, or
yes,
how
does scale with volume. But
that's good.
Yeah, for a first-time guy who doesn't have a lot of exposure, you're probably gonna be lucky to get 100 back.
Okay.
So I've seen, you're probably gonna be in between 30 and 100. So just
30 to 100. Okay.
Yeah, somewhere between 30 to 100 back for the first campaign. If you don't really have a lot of exposure. So.
Okay. Yeah, because we were actually, me and my artist, we were gonna do maybe one more short horror story, and package it like an anthology, like Junji Ito does. But we just decided to go straight into the big comic, unless I decide to write something, and then he can fulfill that, and then we could do an anthology with 3 stories.
All right.
Sure. Yeah. No issue.
Danny, do you want to go to Palace or Angel of Darkness?
Let's read some Palace.
Okay. Palace is.
I'm actually really enthusiastic about Palace after the last stuff you brought.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see how you feel this time around.
I am looking forward to suddenly religious main character now moving mountains, and you can just get all the 3
There you go.
With religions out of the way,
All right.
all in one episode.
All right.
That's mine.
Who wants to narrate?
That's
This is
mine.
the wrong story.
Oh, sorry. You're right. You know what? This is yours.
This is a John Lamont script.
This is a John Lamont script.
Oh, Chris left. He really should have stuck around.
Oh.
Is that it?
Oh, that's strange.
I'm disappointed.
Let me go text him.
No, he's back.
Okay.
Okay.
Must be a disconnect.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Oh, this is a
Yeah,
program
I'm
you
just
run?
doing it in Writer Duet. That way, like, I can make changes in real time.
Oh my god.
We didn't give you that many notes last time. Come on, Dan.
Okay.
All right, you want me to narrate for you?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Page 9, panel 1, background. Ahead lies the gates of the lost African city of Chaiko. Pencil or note, utilize the gates and the walls of Nineveh. Foreground, the four ride through the sand in the early light of evening.
All right, who wants to read for Thora?
I could go ahead.
Okay,
We have
go.
arrived.
Who wants to read for Gretchen? Larry, you here?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And Danny. You can read this
No signs of inhabits.
one. Oh, no.
Page 1.
Oh,
Panel 1,
Hold
let's
on,
go.
Look at that.
Oh my god.
Panel 2, the four approach the gates, where a multitude of skeletons, some armored, stand testament to an ancient genocide. Broken arrows, spears, and swords protrude from a few of them.
What happened here?
This city housed a proud people. They conquered their neighbors and demanded tribute. After many generations, the neighbors decided to join together on a different arrangement.
Panel 3, Thor leads the four through the gates into a courtyard area, filled with skeletons surrounded on all sides by high walls. Doorways and gates lead into the city ruins.
We need Thora.
The ones not slaughtered lived the rest of their lives as slaves in foreign lands.
Panel 4, foreground, Thor removes her horse's saddle. Background, Gretchen dismounts while Nestor and Bobby remain in their saddles, unsure what to do.
You and Bobby stay here and guard the horses. I recommend you set up camp. Gretchen and I may be a while.
But you're not taking us? What if there are undead here?
Don't let your mind drift toward peril. I don't want you to get spooked and flee. I'll need my horse when I'm done.
Page 10, ooh, blood red font. Panel 1, foreground, in her governor's armor, Thora walks with Gretchen, who has also left her robe behind. They walk toward the open gate leading into the city as two women sharing a common purpose. Background, Nestor and Bobby stand with the resting horses. Everywhere, the faces of the dead bear witness to the scene.
Sisterhood Eternal.
Panel 2, Thora and Gretchen walk through the ruins towards a towering temple a few hundred meters ahead.
This city's larger than Port Victoria.
Can you hear the whispers of the dead? They speak of their lost ambitions. There has been no one to hear them, and they have much to say.
Panel 3, Gretchen looks upon a crumbling carving in the nearby stone wall of the Babylonian-style strong lion.
You can see in the symbols they exalted this. You can see in the symbols they exalted that this was a primitive and chauvinistic culture. What could we learn from those who devalued their women?
Thora surveys her surroundings as she ponders the question.
Society devalues everyone at one point or another, including the two of us.
Page 11, Panel 1, Gretchen challenges Thora.
Yes, but how much misogyny would you be willing to internalize in the name of honor?
Were you bothered by what we did to Iskandar?
Panel 2, Gretchen bristles and points to a wall relief showing a Bronze Age military parade.
Of course not. Beta males must be sexually denigrated so that they learn their place. But these people, they paraded their slaves of conquest down the street, a literal rape culture.
Panel 3. Thora stands her ground, puts Gretchen on the defensive.
Wouldn't you consider what we did to him a form of rape?
Well, I suppose from his vantage point, but only by embracing the harsh realities that necessitate abuse can we become its master.
Is this why our society embraces ritualized emasculation?
Page 12. Panel 1. Gretchen does her best to stand up for herself, but Thora has won the point.
Men are inherently violent and savage. If preventing their sexual instincts allows us to control them, so be it.
But have we both not also suffered similar matters of abuse acted onto us by the queen? Do not masters whimsy to abuse upon their slaves? Isn't that the nature of power?
Panel 2. Flashback sequence. Wearing her governor's armor, Thora leads Gretchen by the hand into the discipline yard, where stands a series of pillories, each attached to a platform with a cushioned seat. Iskandar, last seen in issue 1, page 10, waits helplessly restrained by one of the pillories underneath the sign, Mansplainer.
A lesson.
I love that.
A lesson I taught you myself.
Page 13, panel 1. The wooden pillory holds Iskandar's head, isolated from the rest of his body, and trapped between the legs of Gretchen, who exposes herself to his shocked face by lifting her miniskirt. Thora stands behind Iskandar, facing his head forward with her shoulder as she holds a knife to his throat, her face expressing her sadistic zeal for the task.
When the moment came, I could see the guilt in your eyes, as if it somehow violated your sense of fairness.
Page 14, panel 1. Gretchen speaks her truth to Thora.
It is as the Divine Mother decreed. Not to victimize an inferior is to not victimize an inferior is to treat them as an equal. The first time was hard, but you were fine. A fine example. Thank you for being with me.
Panel 2. Thora takes Gretchen close and allays her fears.
You and I are sisters by oath, and I could not be prouder of you.
Thank you, my liege.
Panel 3. Flashback sequence. Seated inside the summoning circle drawn.
Yeah. Aha! There we go.
Seated inside the summoning circle drawn by the summoner in issue 2, Thora grasps in horror as the nightmarish hellscape of Escrigal's obsidian throne room, a court of demons born of genocidal conflicts, surround her.
Would that I had a sister such as you when my mind first collapsed around Escrigal.
Panel 4, flashback sequence. Thora's POV as she looks up at the massive, monstrous face of Escrigal, mistress of oblivion, seated upon an obsidian throne, towering above in gigantic proportions.
She forced the truth upon me. I was born of violence. Force shaped my interactions with my fellows, and I will perish, along with everything and everyone else.
Page 15, panel 1. Thora holds Gretchen and speaks to her from the heart.
All of us exist through patterns of force. If we find any meaning at all, it is in the speculation that your pattern will lead to glorious future. We lived in a corrupt world, and that will not change without violence and force. Now put aside your petty feelings and come with me to a glorious future.
Panel 2. Thora and Gretchen stand at top of the stairs, peering into the main chamber. Gretchen does her best to remain calm, but seems a bit unnerved as Thora speaks her incantation with conviction.
Aya, Aya, Ereshkigal, goddess of the underworld, mistress of oblivion, I have come here to reclaim your knowledge. I intend to show them the ultimate fate of human ambition.
Panel 3. Ereshkigal sits in her Ithidian's throne in hell. Thora stands before her as we saw her in the previous panel. Behind her, Gretch stands at the doorway to the temple.
Welcome, Thora, the first visitor to chant my name on the temple steps in over a millennia.
Millennium.
Okay, let me change that right now.
Millennia is plural.
All right.
I came as we agreed, to honor you and bring your knowledge to my people.
Panel 4. Ereshkigal strolls down from her obsidian throne to approach Thora. Unaware of what's going on, Gretchen stands at the top of the stairs in the direct light of the fading sun. Thora stands within the shadow of the room's interior as remains unreadable as she meets her deity for the first time.
Should be Anna.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't what you typed.
Because I
Ereshkigal?
penetrated your mind, you can see me in the spirit world, but she cannot hear me, nor can I touch her. So you bring.
I'll read for Ereshkigal.
Okay. Thank you.
Page 16, panel 1. Thora turns to Gretchen.
Rejoice, Gretchen. Meeting you would please my mistress.
Panel 2, Gretchen's POV as Thora beckons her to step into the dark shadows of the temple.
Step into the darkness, and we will prepare you for oblivion.
Panel 3, fear won't let go of Gretchen, who remains standing in the daylight.
Larry.
I don't think I can do that.
Panel 4, Thora stands half in the harsh light of day and half in the shadowy temple. Done playing, she points into the darkness with her left hand.
Are you denying me your consent? After all we've been through, you would deny me this?
Page 19, panel 1. Cowed, Gretchen steps forward as Thora continues her posture.
Now step in here and praise our new goddess.
Panel 2. In the shadowy light of the temple, Thora brings Gretchen to an ancient dais featuring a limestone altar.
How can you see? It's so dark back here.
Give yourself time to adjust. Now hold my hand as we go up these steps.
Panel 3. Thora places Gretchen's hand upon the altar.
That a girl. Now hop onto this altar.
Altar.
Your question will be answered in time. Now climb up.
This is Abraham and Isaac. Panel 4. Thora stands over Gretchen sits upon the altar.
Great. Lie down and present yourself.
Page 18, panel 1. Thora stands at the head of the altar, pinning Gretchen's wrists above her head as she invokes her matron. In shadows of the spirit realm, Ereshkigal walks down the obsidian steps leading from her throne down to the altar.
Come now, Ereshkigal, goddess of loss. I offer you Gretchen Amberhair, my loyal servant. Take her as you did me, so that she might experience truth.
Well done, Thora.
Panel 2. In the foreground, the blood drains from Gretchen's frightened visage as Ereshkigal forces face-to-face contact. In the background, Thora continues to pin Gretchen's wrist to the altar, taking satisfaction in the view.
It brings me joy to offer her to you.
Look at me, my child. Stare into the face of oblivion.
Panel 3. Startled by Gretchen's scream, Bobby and Nestor look up from filling water bottles in the river.
Scream.
Oh. There we go.
Wow, that got dark.
That was
Yeah, this is pretty unexpected.
Well, I mean, she's the mistress of oblivion. It's got to be done. All right. Who wants to go first?
I liked it. It was
Okay.
different. Still broadly on point with what you were doing before. The gesture at world building was well received. And yeah, like no further notes.
Okay. All right, John.
Was
Was well formatted.
was very well. No,
Most of the words
it was
were
only
so
well
formal.
formatted because you were correcting your grammatical mistakes as
go.
we went
All
along.
It was poorly formatted. Okay.
Well, we're not getting to constructives yet.
Okay.
Okay, so I remember last time the framing was a little off-putting, and a
Sure.
little confusing, and that was definitely much more clear.
Okay.
So I could visualize the where people were in space, and I could see what Gretchen could see and could not see. So, because I remember that was very confusing last time. So that that being cleaned up made those parts much more much easier to follow. And I think they'll be much more visually pleasing and easier to follow when the when our team gets a hold of it.
Awesome. Larry.
Yes. I really like the second half of it.
Okay.
I'm uncertain about the first still.
Where are you cutting it in half?
When Gretchen goes a little nuts and summons the demon, I like all the visuals in that part.
Okay.
They work really well.
Okay.
I'm just a little unsure about the first part.
Okay.
Gretchen summoned a demon?
Well,
Thor.
or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, that's not the. I didn't read anything about Gretchen summoning.
Ibrahim, tell me what you liked about this.
Yeah, I like the pacing, and I like the mystery of the ruins. Like, it all felt like it was kind of connected. Like, you're lurking more and more into darkness to the point that it's kind of like in the back of our minds. We're not really thinking of it. Like, the servant gets sacrificed. And I like the dialogue between them, that Thora is kind of trying to be the powerful person and convince Gretchen, and she eventually does. And that also kind of foreshadows her sacrifice and Thora having the upper hand over her. So I thought that was kind of interesting, how like it started off in dialogue first. Yeah.
And Chris, what do you like about it? Chris is muted.
Hi, sorry, I was just heating up some food.
That's all right.
Yeah. So was this the second chapter that was because I think you guys mentioned that something changed last week.
This is actually book 3, but I
was wondering because I was really trying to.
It's
I was really trying to follow.
Yeah.
Oh, so you wrote this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I was really trying to follow and I couldn't really
Okay.
I wanted people to I wanted to ask if someone could like go slower, but I was trying my best to
all right.
understand what exactly was going on.
All right. Okay, constructive. Danny, go ahead.
So I really liked how you started making the conversation between Thora and Gretchen an actual conversation, right? Where they have different viewpoints. I don't think it hit the mark 100%, but some of that could just be like a phrasing thing more than it's a plot thing. Is really hard to tell.
Right.
I'm not sure if I like the Abraham and Isaac reference.
Okay.
Not for any particular reason, just that Thora showing up as a prophet suddenly like really worked for me.
Okay.
So showing how that happens doesn't really need to be a thing.
Okay.
On the other hand, you do implicate Gretchen in the whole process.
Yeah.
So I see what you're going for there, and I withhold judgment on whether or not it lands until I see if you stick the landing.
Okay.
Also, there were some spelling mistakes.
Sure. All right. Go ahead.
I did not see where you were going, so that was kind of what threw me off was Gretchen's sudden compliance when she has been like the only virtuous character in this entire story so far. There was a little glimmer of hope for Thora, but now she's gone completely, dark side.
Okay.
So that kind of leaves us with Gretchen, and I don't know where you're going with it. I don't have any predictions. Maybe if I thought about it more, I might come up with some, but at this time, I don't have any predictions on where you're going with Gretchen, so seeing her kind of waffle kind of makes me wonder if
I mean, everybody wants Gretchen to be a stronger and stronger and stronger character. She's the squire, right?
I don't have a problem with that. She's Probably.
I don't have a problem with
who's
her
like-
being the squire or being a secondary character, but
Right.
she's just kind of she's the moral. She's the only virtuous voice in so far.
But as
in
we
your
see
story.
in these pages, she's not that virtuous.
Then this is why it's like, okay, well then who else is there?
Okay. All right. Fair
So
enough.
again, that's kind of where that's what kind of threw me off,
Right.
because to see her go in that regard and it was not I was not expecting.
Okay, so you would have preferred if I kept Gretchen more pure.
Well, I mean, I don't know where you're going with the story. So,
Okay.
I don't know.
Well,
Danny
we're
seems
always
to have an
making
idea.
a judgment until you write the end.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay. All right. Fair enough.
I guess because I don't know where you're going with it. If Danny's correct and you stick the landing, then it could be
I mean,
amazing.
I don't know if he's going to stick the landing. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I'll find out when I see
Okay.
whether or not he
Right,
sticks the landing.
Exactly. So I'm just kind of unsure of where I just am unsure of where you're going at this time, and
Okay.
if your intention is that there are just no virtuous people and it's a whole just
Well, again, you keep coming back to this virtuous term. I mean, I don't know that Gretchen in these pages is any different than Gretchen as previously presented. I mean, she's always been.
has she
fun.
ever done anything evil or been party to
Not
anything
on
evil?
camera.
I mean, not on
Right.
camera, no.
Right.
But
Exactly.
she's
That's
a
the big
nice
difference. That's the
Well,
big
unless she's
difference.
like some secret torture fanatic, and more power to you if you go that way.
Right.
But I think you're going to lose audience if you do.
Okay. So Gretchen can't be. I don't know.
I mean,
All right.
Gretchen is Willow right now.
Yes.
No one liked Dark Willow.
Okay. Fair enough. All right.
So make it work, stick the
Okay.
landing, or, don't. We'll find out next week.
Okay. Fair enough. All right, Larry.
Was that a reference to something that Gretchen's not
Yeah.
Willow?
Yeah.
What's that a reference to?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a really.
I mean,
famous
I know a
show.
little.
Yeah, spoiler
I know
alert,
a little bit of
Danny,
it.
on a 20, 30-year-old TV show.
Yeah.
I never watched it. But
Okay.
What? It's
Yeah.
not like I mentioned how it happened.
That's true. Yeah, because that's a little crazy.
Does she die or something?
Watch it for yourself. Or
I don't want
Google
to.
it.
I don't want this to generate.
Yeah, no spoilers, right? So,
Let me Google
Yeah,
that
no.
for you.
To actually be honest, I have not seen the show. I am actually watching through it right now for the very first time. I just started season 2.
Oh, you really ruined it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I knew enough to know about Dark, but I don't know how it happens. So yeah, but no,
Dark
just
Willow,
interestingly enough, it part of my right-wing extremist growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch the show because it had like vampires, and they thought that was going to lead me to witchcraft or something.
Anyway.
And,
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway,
will
we don't
let
have to
you
go there.
Write John Lamont comics,
Yeah.
I know, right?
which is so much
Can't
worse.
believe. Yeah. Anyway, that
This is
being
why-
oppressed would allow you. No.
No, honestly, yeah. I've always written like this. When I started writing, I was always writing this kind of stuff.
Hearing about your upbringing so much more makes sense now.
Yes.
All right.
That was a weird time. Were people like that? Like in the 50s when like Lord of the Rings came out? Was that a thing?
No.
Or was that like
No.
an 80s, 90s thing?
That's
It was an 80s, 90s thing because in the 80s you had the Satanic Scare, and that really went through a lot of the Christian and fundamental
Middle America.
churches.
Eh,
And I grew up in Philadelphia. That's not Middle America, and it went through my
okay.
area.
There-
My church was all into that. We didn't go trick-or-treating on Halloween night. We all went to church and we watched movies about how the secret Satanist in your neighborhood was stealing all the neighborhood cats and sacrificing them on altars.
And now you understand John Lamont's view.
yeah.
oh my god.
Which
So-
is funny because Halloween was adopted as a Christian holiday as well. Like so,
Right, all right.
It-
I
again-
don't want to get in a big discussion about Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's what I grew up in, and
It
that's
is
why a lot of
October,
I
Preston.
wasn't.
Meanwhile,
So, anywho,
yeah.
No, because I was also like I'm not that young. I'm 25, but I was around that time, and that stuff was going around me as well. So like, I remember all that nonsense in like early 2000s, like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon were like subject to that.
All
See,
right.
it's Christianity. The nonsense never ends.
There you go.
Yeah. Can I give my feedback as well on it?
Oh.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. So I think it was kind of interesting. It was just like everyone else was kind of saying, it was unexpected, the sacrifice, because like they have a close relationship to each other, don't they? Gretchen and Dora,
Sure.
or like they had. So it's just kind of like, what is the motive? I guess is what everyone's kind of thinking. And
Okay.
yeah, and one thing that could possibly be interesting is if Gretchen somehow comes back later
Right.
and pledges to some goddess of light and like
Okay.
has this epic fight with Dora. That'd be kind of
All
cool.
right. Okay.
I don't know.
I don't
Well,
think there are any goddesses of light in that universe.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah.
Oh, no?
There are.
Maybe
They're
not
just
in
not in this
but
particular
possibly in
temple.
the universe.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all dark.
Yeah, it's
Alright.
pretty dark. No, I didn't really have much criticism. I know you're like,
Yeah.
Feminist rhetoric is kind of put in as sort of a joke, but
Yeah.
it was a little bit cringe in this one. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, or it just came off to me. Maybe I'm just
Okay.
being
you're
on
not
Twitter
wrong.
too much.
Although
but
mansplainer was
yeah.
still funny, and you should keep that somewhere.
Okay.
that was a funny line, but yeah.
Well, if you could feel.
But
Alright.
yeah, I did like the fact. I like that Gretchen was kind of
I mean, I feel like this time
coming out as the
I'm
as the based one, I guess. But yeah,
Alright.
yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it's just me right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Okie doke. Anyone else got any notes? All right. We can go on to our John Lamont script of the evening.
Okay.
So hopefully you guys will like this. This is a rewrite of some of the pages from last week, and then it's a rewrite of everything.
Okay.
It's a rewrite of some of the pages that we read last week, and then the rest of the issue. Because I think last week we ended on page 21 or 22.
Yeah.
And so basically we're starting a little bit later. And we're going to go from 17 to 24, which is the end of this issue. This is Angel of Darkness, issue 4.
Okay.
Page 17, panel 1. Exterior, observation coach. Day. Aaron and Nikki stand by the observation coach. There is tension between them. I don't know why. I just jumped into reading. We have so many people now. I could have taken a break.
Could have.
Because it's my script, and you're going to love it.
That is a reason.
Larry, why don't you do Aaron? And Ibrahim, you want to read for Nikki? Are you up for that?
No.
No. Okay.
All right, Preston, why don't you read for Nikki? They're like the
My
only
bad.
two people that
I'll
talk.
read for Nikki. I was away doing something.
Okay.
All right.
They're like the only two people that are going to talk in the next 6 pages. So
Perfect.
Perfect.
That's
good
fine.
to me.
Yeah. Don't go anywhere.
There's nowhere to go.
Panel 2. Interior observation coach. Day. Aaron kneels by the open padded storage bench holding a satchel. Inside the storage bench are boxes of ammo, water canteens, and boxes of rations. Panel 3. Exterior observation coach. Day. Aaron, with her Lee Enfield rifle strung over her shoulder, holds one satchel in her hand and hands another to Nikki. Aaron now wears a pistol strapped to her right thigh. It rests just below the trim of her skirt. Of course it does.
Here, you can carry the water and rations.
What's this for?
Panel 4. Aaron stands facing passenger coach number 8, yelling at the boarded up windows and pointing at the tracks.
Have the zombie all left? We left you
That's
some
not a
water.
question.
Oh, okay.
It's
Well,
it's
it
an
is now. Yeah. We left you some water and rations in the officer's lounge. We are going to follow the tracks to the next town and send help.
She's very excitable.
Yes.
Panel 5. Aaron looks back at Nikki, waving her forward.
You are coming with me. And you were going to explain what the fuck you did.
Language,
I forgot I was
John.
Nikki.
It's about
My
time.
script was cleaner.
I know.
Right.
Usually I'm all about the TNA, but I felt like it.
What?
Page 18. Ah, you did it. Yay. Exterior African belt sunset. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Panel 1. Splash page. Aaron takes the lead, hiking alongside, which is somehow 2 words, the railway tracks. Her rifle and satchel of spare ammunition slung over her shoulder, her uniform jacket tucked between the straps and her body. Beside her, Nikki follows along. She has 2 satchels, a small one containing her magical items, and the larger one containing the food and water. In the distance, the train sits, barely visible. The sun lowers, sending reds and oranges of sunset across the sky.
What makes you think I had anything to do with this?
Do you think me a fool? The dead walk, and they seem to kill and turn everything in their path except you. And now, when the train stops, they could have their way with us, and instead they take off running after the major.
It's a long way to Lake Bongwilu Station. You should not talk, save your water.
Page 19. Exterior African belt, sunset. Aaron stands in front of Nikki, blocking her path. Nikki sighs, relenting.
You brought me back from the brink of death. You have command over life and death? Question mark.
No, it is only a reanimation of the flesh. It would take the magic of a god to return the soul to the body. Your soul did not leave, you are still you.
Okay, explain it to me then.
Panel 2. Nikki and Aaron sit on the ground, holding boxes of food rations.
When I was 14, I started to sense the life force. The ancients believed it was a spiritual essence that binds living things. They believed that those gifted with this ability, through much practice, could transfer it from one being to another.
So you gave me your life force?
In concert with a healing spell, yes.
So you now have less life force.
Panel 3. Angle more to Nikki as she answers, as Aaron looks on, growing more curious.
Not exactly. While the amount any animal has at one time is limited, it will return to its previous levels. The life force I gave you is as much as yours as it is not yours. It is as much mine as it is not.
When did you gain this ability?
About 4 hours ago.
Page 20. Exterior African belt, night. Panel 1. Nikki walks along the tracks, away from Aaron. Aaron, from her seating position in page 19, holds her canteen, staring up at Nikki, who has her back to us.
We should keep moving. The land will be coolest at night, better for traveling.
Care to tell me why you want the major dead?
I know not of your meaning.
Panel 2. Aaron stands, returning her canteen to the larger satchel Nikki carries.
You know the spells of the Walking Dead.
I'm not hearing a question.
It's not. You know the spells. The dead walk, you said, kill the necromancer.
Dun, dun, dun. Panel 3. Close on Aaron's thigh, her hand on her pistol. Her skirt flutters in the breeze. Candy shot. Background, fourth perspective. Nikki stands, rear side profile, looking back.
I know the spells, but I'm not the necromancer raised this dead.
Then who did?
The Toko Loshe.
Panel 4. Aaron is confused.
What she?
Page 21. Exterior African adult night. Panel 1. Nikki and Aaron walk beside the tracks.
I summoned a Toko Loshi. A demon spirit follows you around, makes you see and hear things, makes you crazy, and then you kill yourself. It was not supposed to summon an army of walking dead.
What went wrong?
I do not know.
Panel 2. Aaron pulls on Nikki's arm, very serious. Her other hand again grips the pistol on her hip. Nikki remains cold, detached.
Damn right it does.
And why Major Hansu?
That is not your concern.
I'm making it my concern.
Panel 3. Nikki's rage boils over. She sends Aaron back a step. Aaron remains in defensive posture.
Damon Hansu is my uncle. He murdered my parents and sold me, my kid brother, to the slavers.
That should be
Every
me
scar.
and...
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, you should edit it.
Every.
back.
I know. If only I could edit a PDF right now.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. Every scar on my body, seen and unseen, I owe to him, and I will see it repaid even if it costs me my very soul. So yes, may the Tokoloshi boil his blood, skin him alive, suck out his entrails, and make him suffer in every deviant way I have. Then drag his soul to the blackest pit in hell, to have it happen over and over again until all eternity.
And you let hundreds of innocents suffer? ...
Page 22. Exterior African adult night. Panel 1. Nikki turns away from Aaron, her eyes tearing up. Aaron remains behind her, focused on finding a solution.
No, none of this was supposed to happen. Only he has to die, not my Arthur. He saved and I let him die.
Then help me stop it.
I've tried, but
Panel 2. Aaron and Nikki face each other. Aaron places her hands on Nikki's shoulders, but Nikki just stares away, unable to look at her.
There has to be something you can do. Some spell, something you haven't thought of.
the Tokoloshi is bound to your major. Once it achieves its objective, it will return to its plane.
You mean kill him? Let this demon kill Major Hansu. No, we will find another way.
Damn right we will.
Panel 3. Nikki finally looks into Aaron's eyes as her tears flow. Aaron looks at her reassuringly and calmingly.
Panty
It's
shot.
not like he doesn't oh, my bad. What was that? Yeah, that was my I think we both
Yeah,
confused each
wait,
other's
you know
line.
what? Yeah, John, you're
Yeah,
missing
okay.
it. Need to say panty shot, right?
It's not like he doesn't deserve it.
And what do you think you deserve for all these deaths by your hand?
Yes, my soul is damned to hell.
Do not think that way. We will find another way. For you, for Major Hansu, we will speak to the magistrates in London.
Panel 4. Nikki wipes her eyes, a smirk of "Are you crazy?" on her face as she replies to Aaron.
By the gods, you are daft. Your magistrates will never take the word of a foreigner over one of their own.
Page 23. Exterior African Veldt, night. Nikki sits on the ground, reading from a little black book in her hands, in the dark. Aaron sits beside her.
So, this is interesting.
What's that?
The healing spell I used on you looks like it might have the opposite effect on the undead.
Panel 2. Aaron perks up, smiling that there might be a way out. Nikki continues reading, in the dark.
I have all the ingredients I need, but one. But I will have to be in close proximity, like a few yards.
I guess it's a good thing they ignore you. What else? What else? Anything about the demon?
Not unless I can talk him out of it.
I talked you out of killing Major Hansu, so I have faith you can do the same.
Panel 3. Nikki looks up at Aaron, smirking and smiling.
You haven't talked me out of anything. You could end this from 100 paces with a single bullet.
I already told you.
Fine. We should get moving. Only a few more hours to sun up, then it starts to get hot again.
Page 24. Exterior African Veldt sunrise. Panel 1. Splash page. Nikki and Aaron follow the tracks towards the top of the page. The train tracks lead towards the Lake Bangweulu station, which sits off in the distance. The Cape to Cairo train engine sits parked by the station platform. The rising sun peaks above the horizon, bring in the first rays of sunlight.
Oh God, please be a train platform and not a mirage.
What?
Yay.
Okay.
That's it. That would be. Oh, I guess I should have put a to be continued, but that was originally page 1 of issue 5, and I just moved it here.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't
Yeah.
really page. It was one of my early pages in 5, so I just kind of cut out some stuff. But anywho,
All right. We got two ladies talking out the differences as they take on zombies and cold desert night with miniskirts. I think that's all. Graduate. We had some witty repartee between Aaron and Nikki about the meaning of death and undeath and magic. And cool. Abraham, tell us what you like about it.
I think the action was interesting, and I think the thing about the healing spell being used against zombies, that was kind of a cool dynamic. Like, it was kind of interesting. Yeah, I felt like the pacing was pretty good as well. Like the action, and there was always some tension or things going on in the background, or like as a reader, like I could imagine it translating pretty good in a visual context. So I definitely like that aspect of it.
Where are you?
Yeah, pacing was pretty good. It didn't slow down or anything like that. Formatting was really good. I don't know what else to say.
Danny.
I like that there was meaningful repartee.
Yeah.
It was indeed very cute that you got the that you used the magic as a possible solution to the zombie thing. So that's like, you know, a D&D approach that worked really well, actually. And you very successfully solved the why are the zombies going after this guy problem. Oh, and there was some dramatic tension.
Yes.
Chris.
So I have a couple of questions. What exactly is the context for the story? Because I noticed it was in Africa, so I would just like to know a little bit more about that. I found that was
Train to Busan.
Yes, I did.
It's Train to Busan in 1939 Africa. That's all you need to know.
1939. Okay, so like this is also like during the war, or like
it's right before the war. Yes.
Okay.
Three British Army officers are tasked with gathering conscripts in the British colony of Southern Rhodesia.
And once the war starts, I feel, John, you're missing out, because once the war starts, you can have one entertainment vehicle with both Nazis and zombies.
Oh, where do you think this idea came from?
There you go. Yeah.
I started with Nazi zombies, and then I had to backtrack. Then I backtraced to this. Yes, that's where we're going. I told you.
Because I noticed some of the references, like the train from the Cape to Cairo. So that would obviously be that would only be possible within like a specific time frame of British Empire stuff.
Yes.
So I found that interesting. Yeah, I found that interesting. And so, is this for a comic or like a D&D campaign that somebody mentioned?
This is a comic. Issue 3 Kickstarter's launching in January.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I found that really interesting for the setting. So this is supposed to take place in 1939. So yeah, there's lots of things that could be added here. I mean, a significant part of the war happened there as well, like in North Africa. What else could I mention? I like the dynamic between the different characters. That's something that I feel like stood out, especially for the between the two of them. And I'm sorry, there's not much else I can say, but I like the stuff that I already mentioned. You know, the setting and you know, just a different idea for you know the comic idea, because I never really hear people, you know, especially in like what do you say in Rhodesia.
It started out in Rhodesia. It's more in Central Africa.
And Rhodesia is like
they've been on a train for the last 3 issues. So
yeah.
The train to Busan part is over.
Is it like a steampunk kind of story, or is it like a horror story, like a?
It's more
what exactly is the aesthetic?
It's more fantasy action than horror.
Okay, I see.
It has some horror elements, but I'm not a huge horror buff, so I'm more of a supernatural fantasy action buff. So I'm kind of leaning more heavily into that.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right. Constructive notes. Who wants to go?
Oh, go on, Preston. I know you're dying to.
No, it's fine.
I mean,
I
only
start.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I don't buy, you know, Nikki as the victim.
I have one constructive note for the entire thing. So
go ahead, Larry.
Needs more panty shots?
Yes, actually, that's exactly what I was going to say. Every desert scene should end in panty shot. There we go. Yeah.
It'll look like an upskirt comic. I don't want to do that entirely.
I mean, there's got to be a market for that, right?
Maybe my next comic, it'll be the main character will be a gnome or something, and then it'll be from his perspective, and then I could totally get away with that.
I mean, what if it's just panty shots of the gnome's panties the whole time?
There you go.
Danny.
Okay, well, before I give constructives, I want to say that Nazi zombies are great, because the only thing better than killing Nazis is killing them twice.
There you go.
All right.
So I guess I'm behind that.
We got a while to go for that, though.
Although I enjoyed the repartee, it was hardly witty, and it was quite long-winded, especially the British soldier didn't seem that talkative to me. Like, I know your wizard character is supposed to be like sort of socially awkward, but she keeps giving long speeches. So it's very weird that we were getting a bit more speech from the British soldier one. And the art direction during the walk and talk scene, I mean, that's like a lot of pages. And the gunfight bit was interesting, although as one panel of 4, I don't think it's going to work as well as it should. Especially it's also a panty shot. Yeah, like, I mean,
make it a splash page or something.
No, make it like, you know, half a page. Or, you know, half a page and there's 2 panels on top or whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
Especially if it's your panty shot, you got to use your panty shot budget wisely.
Do you realize how many I have?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yes, I lettered your book, John. So
he covered over panties with his word bubbles.
No, Danny is very good. He is like that guy who, in the meme about the subtitle achievement unlocked, and you see the anime subtitle where the subtitles go around the character's boobs.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So like, yeah, it was quite long-winded, and although a lot of it was necessary, it might not be necessary to have it so long. And then there's, you know, they stop, they eat, they walk, they stop, they eat. You haven't given me any art direction for what's going on in the background or like how the landscape is changing or whatever. And you
Okay.
know, I know the belt is quite flat, but
It's just they're
because they
walking
started
for
to
like
stop
6
a couple of
hours
times,
straight. So it's
Mm.
kind of like, how do I say they're walking, but they're in a new place now? And
put
they're
a tree in the background, have them be encircled by vultures. They run away from a hippopotamus. I don't know.
There you go.
Silhouettes
Zombie
of elephants
hippopotamus.
mating in the
Something involving
background.
zebra.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you've got this really rich natural landscape that you're starting to explore, but we didn't get a sense visually from the direction that they were moving such a long distance, and I think that would have really helped sort of
Okay.
show what their trek is like, and it would help foreshadow whatever condition they're in when they arrive, which presumably isn't fighting fit.
This is an action movie.
Okay, well, fine. At any rate, still not a good sense of the movement. A little bit repetitive. They sit a couple of times.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a thing. Yeah, and it was quite wordy with not very much action in between.
Yeah.
It
Now,
was. This is my
did
big
use your
info
action
dump
budget
scene.
really wisely this episode with the train crash, so that's not actually a complaint.
I'm sorry. Say what now?
You used your action budget really well with that train crash, so that wasn't actually a complaint.
Okay, that was the plan.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna say
That because this is my big info dump. Like after this, there was nothing. This is it. It's going to be basically 35 to 40 pages of action from here out. It's just that I kind of had to get all this out. So yes, I strategically planned to have big train blowy uppy in the beginning of issue 4, then end issue 4 with big info dump. So issue 5 we can just go balls to the walls. So that was
definitely worked. I think the way to level this up might be to make it feel a bit less like an info dump.
Do you think spreading out, adding more pages with, if I come up with some interesting background stuff and kind of spreading it out a little bit would help?
So aside from the holy shit, you're the necromancer, I want to kill you, which was good. Like Nikki can just be like, okay, here's what's going on, right? That reduces the need for a lot of back and forth questioning that doesn't really go anywhere.
Well, I wanted Erin to draw it out of her. She's not being very forthcoming. This is the 4th issue, and she hasn't told them anything that she knows. She's been very withholding of information up until this
Erin
point.
has a gun and the food. I'm sure she can find a way.
That's kind of what's supposed to happen here. Is that this is kind of Erin's like, okay, I've had it up to here with your bullshit. You're here, and that's kind of like you're going to tell me what's going on, and you don't have a choice in the matter. And that's kind of
that did not land as exactly as you might have anticipated. Maybe like you got 20% of the way there, and then a couple scenes where you got a little bit closer. So yeah, it might be worth sort of revisiting Erin's lines.
In what way? Like, should she be more forceful?
Like, we're doing this. I'm doing this with you. Tell me what the hell is going on. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you can, like.
I always want the same thing. I want Erin to kill Nikki, and then defeat. Use something from the conversation or her magic pouch to defeat the bad guy, and walk off into the sunset and have him kill both the villains.
I'm having a hard time understanding you, Preston. I don't know if you moved away from the microphone.
I think it might be cool if Erin killed Nikki, and then eventually the evil spirit she summoned, and that way she would have vanquished all the villains, and then those credits. But that's me.
But then we're missing Nazi zombies.
I'm sure there's plenty of Nazi zombies that can work into that script.
Well, then who's going to deal with the demon?
Erin deals with the demon.
Yeah, Nikki had it all written down in the book. I paid attention.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Nikki gives her the exposition she needs, so she kills Nikki, defeats the demon. Case closed.
Okay.
There you go.
So those are two directions you could go.
All right.
So the
how I
warrior
want
kills the sorcerer, picks
Look,
up the sorcerer's
look,
spell book, and
look.
now becomes a level 12 sorcerer.
I've
mean,
read Conan.
sure.
It's possible.
Yeah, I mean, look, if it's you're framing this entirely from like a D&D game system point of view.
Yes.
I wasn't aware this was D&D fiction.
It's
Yeah, make it more like
inspired by.
Cthulhu.
Yeah. In Cthulhu, exactly. People can do rituals, whatever, all the time. Nikki is the one who's ultimately responsible for all this, and we're letting her off so very easy. I just find that not emotionally satisfying. I'm sorry. Nikki was the one who was ultimately responsible for all this, and we're letting her off very easy, so I find it a bit unsatisfying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. Well,
That's my one note.
There's still one more issue to go.
Okay. All right. I would just think.
I don't think you're going to get the ending that you want, though, Preston.
No, I'm not going to get the ending. Anyway, whatever.
That's what sequels are for.
I rolled my eyes too.
All right. Anything else?
Oh,
Okay. All
panty
right.
shots. I don't know.
Panty shots in D&D
Yeah.
fiction sounds good, John.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do the entire walk and talk in panty shots.
Yeah, there we go.
Just overwhelm your audience with panty shots.
From the
Just
And then they
constantly
won't notice
shoot.
all of the wordy dialogue.
Yeah.
from the perspective of Scorpion, I don't know. Like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Like everything is shot from Bug's eye view.
Yeah.
I could introduce a Scorpion, and he just kind of follows them around, and
Yeah.
everything's from his point of view.
See, unfortunately, that sounds like a good episode of a Sandman comic, so don't do that. Don't ruin Sandman for me.
I guess one thing you could do to make the scene more emotional, like the confrontation, like actually have her pull out the gun and like almost like hesitate on shooting Nikki or something, like without her actually doing it, but something like where we kind of feel like there's some weight, like something could be lost.
Yeah, I gotta say, like maybe if Aaron at least like tried to kill her and maybe found she couldn't go with
Or,
it.
like, where is the warning shot? Or like Aaron's a great sniper, or markswoman, or whatever you're gonna say, or something like that. Yeah, that's a good idea, Ibrahim.
Yeah, because it shows emotion, it shows tension, and it could even
I
be
kind of did that in
briefer.
issue 3, and that's
Okay.
why I didn't want to repeat it, unless
It's
you guys feel
mirroring.
that
That's
I need
okay. You know,
No one's
you're allowed to mirror. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be exactly a gunshot, but something emotional, something a little more like, damn, this is like really, like what's going on, between the two of them.
You could borrow my pillory idea.
She shoots her and she matrix out of the way. There you go. Bullet time.
Okay. Anyway, notes were given.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, next week I will have more pages of Kinky Filmed on D&D comic.
Huh.
For whoever shows up.
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much for dropping in, everybody.
All
All
right.
right, have a good one.
Good night, everybody. See you next week.
Not everybody.